to you.
Live from the Midtown studios of KFNX, it's time for the Wellness Roundtable radio show, sponsored by Atrix.com. Now, here's your hosts, Dr. Spear and Dr. Weiss.
Welcome to the Wellness Roundtable radio show. I'm Dr. David Spear, along with my co-host, Dr. Scott Weiss, all the way from frigid New York City. We are here with you every Wednesday from 3 to 4 on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. Just have to take a moment, Scott, and just ask you how cold it is over there.
Yeah, well, after hearing on the station here your little weather channel being 76 in downtown Phoenix, it's a beautiful 28 degrees here with 20-mile-an-hour winds. Perfect and blustery, exactly how we like it. I know. I'm telling you, it was a hat and gloves weather today.
I can imagine. It's I don't want to tell you what kind of weather it is here, but it's mostly shorts.
Yeah, shorts and flip-flops. Trust me, I understand. I'm trying not to think about it. Well, I'm cranking my heat. You're lowering your air conditioning.
Exactly.
But, last week, Dave, it was a great show. I was really proud to have a good first show and a good showing with some great experts talking about the exercise pill. I think we were off to a great start here.
Yeah, I think we had our guests were great. They gave us really good firsthand experience about how a pill might influence their industry, business owners, as well as the athletic environment. We had a master's athlete, and that was really interesting to hear how a pill like that could affect him.
It's true.
True. And if so, our show is recorded, and if you want to hear a recording of the show, you go to 1100kfnx.com and click on the podcast link, and our show will be there. You can also go ahead, Scott.
No, I was going to say they can also reach us in the studio if they want. If they're outside of the Arizona or Phoenix area, they can call us at 1-888-536-1100, or you can reach us at 602-277-5369 if you're here locally. One more time, if you're out of state, 1-888-536-1100. Call in anytime. Or if you're there in the local area, 602-277-5369.
Sounds good. So we're going to start with our current event, and or our segment we call our current event, and we're going to talk a little bit about corporate wellness programs. We're going to cover the topic a little bit more in depth in future shows, but it's important to note that some new data has come out on employee wellness programs, and it's really not all that positive.
Yeah, Dave, I've seen some of it. Luckily, I'm a small company, so, I usually see these in bigger companies where they have these wellness programs, and it's all kind of hooked up with their insurance and their, so to say, health insurance plan, and kind of giving them incentives. We don't have something like that, and I don't know if that many people on with smaller businesses have that, but yeah, I'm pretty familiar with it.
Yeah, I think, the larger businesses in the 90s really started to pick it up. And they offered employee wellness programs with on-site facilities and on-site personnel that could help employees with, anything from physical to mental health kind of issues. However, what they're finding in a brand new attitude survey of 2017, basically a third of the employees in 22 countries studied basically said that their employee wellness programs helped them. 60% of them were actively dissatisfied. So they've got to find something else to entice an employee to get involved in employee wellness. And I have a little bit of experience in this in terms of incentives, and basically what the data shows is that if the incentive is given very, very close to when the goal is achieved, the incentive tends to be more potent than when the incentive isn't. So to give you an example, if I get paid...
That makes sense, though.
Right.
That makes sense, Dave.
Yeah, if I get paid a small amount of money for doing something, whether it be to attend a class or do something that is with my nutrition, change my lifestyle habits, I'm more apt to continue to do that behavior than if I get paid in a paycheck 2 weeks later. So they're looking at 4 different dimensions of well-being. They're looking at physical, emotional, financial, and social. I think the financial and the emotional is where they're going to start to get people to comply. The data, and again, this is not just from 2017, but from years back, the data shows roughly 20% of people use their employee wellness programs.
Yeah, it's not that much.
Right. So something's got to change. And I think a lot of companies, like you said, yours is a small company. You don't necessarily have an employee wellness program. However, people in your field might be a little bit more health conscious and, right, more physical activity minded than somebody
Absolutely.
someone who's sitting
and
at a
they
desk.
have like instant, like almost like an instant relationship with a fitness center because, most employees that we have can use any of our fitness centers whenever they want. So it's kind of like an incentive built in, which I'm sure other business owners who can afford to do that as well, I would hope, at least.
Right. But when you're talking about people who are sitting at a desk, for the most part, having an on-site fitness facility for some people is actually very enticing. For others, it's a little bit intimidating. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of skin this, and there's a huge individuality when it comes to not only fitness, but obviously lifestyle habits. So you need to hit the right note with the right person every single time to have them comply. Otherwise, you're going to get these very, very low percentages of compliance across the board.
I wonder what our listeners would say. So if you're out there and you'd like to call in and you're in the local area, you can reach us here at the Wellness Roundtable at 602-277-5369. Or if you're from out of state and you want to join our conversation, you can reach us at 1-888-536-1100.
So just continuing on this, one of our experts who's on today, one of our guests, does work in the industry, in manufacturing. And, she specializes in injuries, which we'll talk about. But also, I think she may be able to speak to the idea of employee wellness in a very large kind of, a large manufacturing plant or an industry.
True.
The other thing, Scott, to also remember is that with a lot of these jobs, there's a lot of shift jobs. So people are working not only 9 to 5, but they're working the graveyard shift from 12 to 6, or they're working from 9 to 4 or whatever. You're not going to be physically active for the most part. I mean, some people might, but, that's not really when you're encouraged to go and be physically active at that time. So,
true. Forget about your nutrition choices when
exactly.
you're, fatigued and you're tired and you just really want to go to bed and you kind of do what people say. They just get whatever is the quickest to kind of, so to say, shovel it in. So, yeah, I could understand how that goes down a really bad rabbit hole.
Right. I agree. And one of the things I just want to point out, we just have another minute, but is that, these telehealth or telemedicine platforms, the ability to get online and speak to an expert on issues like this is perfect for individuals who are either sitting at their desk or they're there at off hours, because you're not going to an office at 3:00 in the morning. No one's going to be there, but you definitely can speak to somebody online, even in another state where the time change is, a little bit better for that person. So there are options out there. We'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll dedicate a show to this, and we'll delve into it a little bit more. But I'm excited to hear from our experts who are calling in and to attack our main issue, which, if you want to introduce that.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to introduce that, Dave, because low back pain, the title of the meat and potatoes, so to say, or like I always call it, the quinoa and avocado, is really kind of is important. I think low back pain is such a huge pathology we deal with in the country for so many reasons, and it's going to be great to hear what these guys have to say.
Yeah, we have some interesting questions, and hopefully we'll have some callers call in, and we'll stimulate a really good conversation. We have about a minute left, and then we're going to be going to break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking all about low back pain, what some of the issues are, how we got to a point where a large percentage of the American public suffers from low back pain, what to do about it, what some treatment options are, and how it affects our work environment as well. So we're excited to come back. We'll be back shortly.
Do your feet hurt? Try on a pair of the healthiest shoes you'll ever wear with Atrex. Atrex shoes feature built-in arch support that can help with balance and alignment. Plus, ultra-comfortable memory foam cushioning to keep you feeling great all day long. All wrapped up in a stylish package. Atrex believes that you don't have to sacrifice comfort for fashion. Visit Atrex.com, that's AETREX.com, and get what's sure to be your new favorite pair of shoes today.
Don't we all have questions about our health, fitness, or even injuries? Now there's a place to go, and it's online at wellnessroundtable.com. Wellnessroundtable.com is an online interactive video platform that allows the best experts in the world to share their knowledge with you. Through creating a roundtable or attending a lecture, you are bound to realize the value of having evidence-based information live and in the comfort of your own home. Check them out at wellnessroundtable.com and get some real answers. Use the promo code 1100 to get a 20% discount. New Year's resolutions are just around the corner. Do you really want to lose weight this coming year? Do you want to be healthier and feel great all the time? Contact Scott Keppel with Scott's training system to help you achieve your goals. Email Scott at scott@scottkeppel.com or call 480-220-1874 and receive a week of in-person or online nutrition and exercise coaching. Space is limited, so contact Scott at scottkeppel.com or call 480-220-1874 today. You can also visit Scott on wellnessroundtable.com. Use the promo code 1100 to get a 20% discount.
Owned and operated by John Bliley, Habit Health LLC is a company dedicated to providing home health services. John is compassionate, knowledgeable, and empathetic. John has been a fitness professional for over 20 years, with the past 10 being devoted to a more geriatric clientele. John specializes in corrective exercise, working with folks to reduce back pain and improve strength, flexibility, and balance to prevent falls and keep seniors independent and out of skilled nursing care. For your health, contact John Bliley at habithealth.com. That's HAVEITHEALTH.com.
This message is brought to you by the Bridge to Hope. Wouldn't it be nice if you could decide how a portion of your Arizona state tax dollars were spent? Well, if you take advantage of the Arizona Charitable Tax Credit, you can do just that. The Bridge to Hope is an Arizona-based 501c3. The Bridge to Hope provides housing, job training, and the personal needs of homeless single mothers and their children who are in our program. We partner with local churches who help us in this great work. For more information, visit b2hope.org/donate to learn how you can help a family in need and get a tax credit while doing a good deed.
If you haven't heard, your local Advanced Auto Service and Tire Centers has joined the Pep Boys family. The same great service professionals you know and trust are here to help you and your car. Now with more services than ever for your complete car care needs. Schedule your appointment online today at www.pepboys.com. If you haven't heard, your local Advanced Auto Service and Tire Centers has joined the Pep Boys family. The same great service professionals you know and trust are here to help you and your car. Now with more services than ever for your complete car care needs. Schedule your appointment online today at www.pepboys.com.
Please get involved this holiday season by donating a new toy, clothing, or non-perishable food items to those in need. Let's all get involved to make sure those less fortunate can experience the warmth of the season. This holiday reminder is proudly sponsored by Wilderness Medics, serving the United States, providing immediate on-site medical services when you need them while maintaining the highest standard of care. Learn more at wildernessmedics.com. Again, wildernessmedics.com. Wilderness Medics is on the air, wishing everyone a happy and safe holiday season.
Welcome back to the Wellness Roundtable radio show. I'm Dr. David Spear with my co-host Dr. Scott Weiss, and we're about to talk about our main segment, which is going to cover low back pain. We're going to hear from two experts who are on the line, who are in the field in different ways, and we think it's going to spur some interesting conversation. Our first guest is Katie Behrens, who joins us from Illinois. Katie is a certified athletic trainer, and her expertise lies in injury prevention and injury management in the occupational and industrial setting. She's been working in that setting for the last 4.5 years, and in that time has been a leader in occupational health in developing many new services and programs to improve working conditions as well as prevent physical injury. We also have John Bliley on the phone, a personal trainer and corrective exercise specialist here in the Valley, who specializes in corrective exercise and has taught people how to sit, stand, bend, walk. He's corrected transitional moves like sit to stand and floor to stand. He has worked with people to reduce low back pain issues, and he works with folks to improve strength and flexibility, work and balance training. He is the owner of Habit Health LLC. Welcome to the show, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, John.
Me.
So, so we want to just start. Scott and I wanted to start by just putting some statistics out there on low back pain, and to kind of just give our listeners maybe an idea of the prevalence of this if they haven't experienced it already. Out of the four of us, just out of curiosity, how many have experienced low back pain?
I mean, I know I have, Dave.
So have I.
Hold on.
Yeah, I definitely
Okay,
have.
so we're at 100%. So, all right. So we know from the stats that it's the single leading cause of disability worldwide, and it's the most common reason for missed work, which we'll get to with you, Katie. And it's also the second most common reason for visits to doctors' offices.
Yeah.
And you know, some of the research shows that we estimate that about 80% of the population will experience a back problem at some time in their lives. And we just basically said that 100% of us have experienced this. So we're over that average. And it's about a $50 billion a year price tag on back pain. So let's talk a little bit about low back pain. If you would like to call into the show, please reach us at 602-277-5369 if you're in Phoenix, and out of state, 1-888-536-1100. First, I just want to start with a question for Katie. As an athletic trainer, and knowing what an athletic trainer does, and Scott, you're also an athletic trainer, going out on the field and being there for the injury immediately, how did you get into this part of the equation? How are you working for occupational and industrial health versus, let's say, an athletic team?
To be honest, you know, when I was finishing grad school, I really just wanted a job. And so it kind of started with that search. And then, you know, once I came and interviewed on site, I realized I really liked the population that I'd be working with. I really liked the opportunities, because there was a lot of room for growth and opportunity at my specific location. So those were kind of the two big selling points for me, was a unique population of people to work with and a unique opportunity to grow our occupational health team. And things have changed drastically in the last 4.5 years I've been here. So
okay.
Pretty
I have
exciting.
a question for you, Katie. I have a question for you. So what type of injuries, you know, there's such a multitude of low back injuries that, you know, our listeners would get. What do you see the most? What are some of the most common injuries, you know, as an athletic trainer working in that unique environment? What do you usually see related to the low back?
For the most part, we see a lot of strain and spasm type injuries. We don't, thank goodness, we don't right now have a whole lot of acute traumatic situations, just because we do focus quite a bit on ergonomics. We focus quite a bit on safe lifting techniques, and we've got a really involved safety team. So primarily strain and spasm at this time, thank goodness.
What about you, John? What kind of things do you see? You know, there's such a wide, vast, you know, assortment of injuries to the low back. What do you usually see the most in your practice?
Well, in my practice, which is mainly doctor referral, I see people with either bulging disc or herniated disc, you know, as a result of a fall.
Yes.
Several people that were using the wrong exercise form, or were working out with a buddy, say doing a squat or something that was way too much load without proper posture. I see a lot of strains, but I also see a lot of the more acute and serious ones where they need to have a microdiscectomy or a fusion or so forth.
Sure, and I'm sure you work with them not only before but after as well.
Yeah, it's exactly right, because the stronger I can get them before they go into surgery, of course, they're going to recover that much faster.
That's a great point too, and that's something that we should definitely touch on, is that the fitness level of the individual before the procedure has a lot to do with how they recuperate, and how they recover. And John,
yeah, that's well researched.
John, do you the people that you see, have they had previous back injuries, or are these? You said they're kind of acute, so a lot of these are like first time.
Right.
Okay.
And I think if I, you know, actually did a thorough medical history on each and every one, I'm sure that people. In fact, I was trying to. I may be getting ahead of myself, but about 20 years ago, when I went out on my own, I was real big on body mechanics. Mm-hmm. I called myself a posture policeman. And I tried to get it into the schools because I thought, you know what, if we can get these kids, because their PE was pretty much a waste of time. I mean, the coach would blow the whistle, and then an hour later he'd blow the whistle again, and, you know, PE was over. So I gave some lectures at some high schools around here, and I probably had, in this one, probably 300 kids. And I just asked for a raise of hands on how many had experienced back pain that was not sports-related. Jaw just dropped. A third of them, hands, and these were 15, 16, 17-year-olds. So there's definitely something going on.
Yeah, I do think, and I think Katie brought up the ergonomic point, which I think we should also cover, proper lifting techniques and all of those things. Listen, you can do that when you're 13, when you're 12, or when you're 60. It doesn't really matter. But the more you do it incorrectly, the more susceptible you are to injury later on. How
many times have you heard, I was just bending over to tie my shoe and my back went out? Well, it wasn't an event. It was sitting there waiting to happen because of an accumulation of, improper mechanics before that.
Right. Yeah, Scott, I got a question. So that brings up an interesting point, right? Because people, they do something that is not really physically difficult. And then all of a sudden, now I can't move.
Just as John said, that's quite common.
Yeah. So what's really happening in the physiology of the back that's causing that to happen?
I'd like to first let people get an idea. It really is the straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay.
It's micro trauma after micro trauma to multiple structures over time that eventually, as John said, you go to bend down to tie your shoe. As I have had patients say, I went down to pick up a tissue. It's not even heavy.
Right.
But the mechanics are so vital. And no doubt about it, if your mechanics are flawed, at any point of the range of motion that you're trying to perform, usually you'll have eventually some sort of injury. So mechanics are so important. But just to answer your question, it's these little micro traumas over time, and it's the straw that broke the camel's back theory.
Okay, got it. So we now we have kind of an idea of why. How do we prevent this? So, Katie, what kind of prevention mechanisms, what kind of prevention programs have you developed for industry and manufacturing that helps to either prevent low back problems or make people less susceptible?
So what we do currently, we kind of have two different approaches. With our new employees, we do quite a bit of education in terms of proper lifting specific to their job, because what we're doing is pretty unique. They're handling up to 20,000 pounds of product a day.
Okay.
So you obviously need to make sure they're doing that correctly, not only in that first week of training, but that it's maintained throughout, their career, however long it may be with us. So with our new hires, we do a lot of education. We do a lot of follow-ups with them just to check in, make sure work's going well, kind of reiterate everything they learned in that first week of training. It seems like repetition is kind of the key with our new employees, not only physically having them demonstrate, but also just reminding them, hey, we're here. Do you need help with any of that?
Good.
With our more long-term employees, we're just starting to really dive into the ergonomics.
Hold on. We'll be right back. We're going to pick that up in just a moment. Be right back.
Fair and balanced. Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. Arizona's only independent voice. Independent Talk 1100 KFNX.
President Trump applauded GOP lawmakers for agreeing to a tentative tax deal and wants to realize final passage before Christmas. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders said he understands why Republicans must support the plan.
This is legislation written for wealthy campaign contributors. And I want to congratulate some of my Republican colleagues for being honest about that. What they said publicly is if they don't pass this bill, their wealthy friends will stop contributing. I appreciate that honesty.
Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen says she and her colleagues expect a modest lift to economic growth from the proposed GOP tax plan. The Fed today also agreed to lift its short-term rate by a modest quarter point. A Bangladeshi immigrant accused of setting off a pipe bomb in the New York City subway system appeared by video from a hospital room before a federal magistrate to face terrorism charges. Ikead Ullah did not enter a plea because he is yet to be indicted. I'm Barbara Cusack.
It's time for your 1100 KFNX traffic report, brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life. Taking a look out to Phoenix, we have an accident at the Loop 101 westbound at 7th Ave, as well as 35th Ave at north of Glendale Ave. And in Tempe, be on the lookout for a collision at the Loop 202 eastbound at McClintock Drive. Winston Churchill stirred his country in the face of defeat. Today they inspire us to reach for our own victories. Commitment. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
From the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center, as we head into the evening, it'll be clear, overnight low 48. Thursday sunny, the high reaching 74. Thursday night clear, overnight low 48. Friday sunny, high 72. I'm Scott Allen Fortney from the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center.
Currently in downtown Phoenix, it's 76 degrees.
Next news in 30 minutes or when it breaks, here on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Divorce is a serious thing. To the extent that you can save your marriage, you should. No one knows that better than the attorneys at Cordell & Cordell.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
As many of you know, we represent men in domestic relations cases. And most of our clients are captive to a process they didn't choose. If they could have, they would have saved their marriage. But their wives told them they want out. Suddenly at issue are the assets they've been a lifetime accumulating. What's more important, their role in their children's lives. If you're confronted with a marriage you can't save, we hope that you'll consider Cordell & Cordell.
By the way, unless you're in Missouri or Illinois, I'm not licensed in your state, but that's okay. Our attorneys in your state are.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Phoenix area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 602-995-6666. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Scottsdale and Peoria. 6730 North Scottsdale Road, Suite 230, Scottsdale, Arizona 85253.
Atrix is one of the fastest growing companies in the footwear industry and is widely recognized as a global leader in comfort and wellness footwear products. The Atrix mission is to create the healthiest shoe on the market today. With fashion, function, and quality at the forefront, Atrix designs and manufactures most types of footwear for both men and women. All styles are crafted with care to meet the highest standards in design, incorporate cutting-edge technologies, and offer unmatched customization and adjustability. To learn how Atrix can help you with your feet, go to AETREX.com. That's Atrix.com.
Don't sacrifice comfort for style when it comes to your feet. Try a pair of Atrix shoes instead. Atrix shoes feature built-in orthotic support that can help with balance, alignment, and injury prevention. Plus, ultra-soft memory foam cushioning to keep you feeling great all day long. This month only, receive a 10% discount by using the special code WELLNESS. That's WELLNESS. Don't wait. Visit Aetrex.com, AETREX.com, and get your shoes today.
We are all aware the digital age has swiftly come upon us, and staying on top of our health has become more mainstream than ever before. But what if there was a way to combine the two? Finally, we can. WellnessRoundtable.com is an online video healthcare site that allows consumers the opportunity to speak to the health experts they want to and on their own time. Simply pick an expert, pick a time, and book the roundtable. It's as easy as that. Visit Wellness Roundtable at wellnessroundtable.com. Again, that's wellnessroundtable.com.
Owned and operated by John Bliley, Habit Health LLC is a company dedicated to providing home health services. John is compassionate, knowledgeable, and empathetic. John has been a fitness professional for over 20 years, with the past 10 being devoted to a more geriatric clientele. John specializes in corrective exercise, working with folks to reduce back pain, improve strength, flexibility, and balance to prevent falls and keep seniors independent and out of skilled nursing care. For your health, contact John Bliley at habithealth.com. That's HAVEITHEALTH.com. Welcome back to the Wellness Roundtable radio show. So, Katie, I wanted to allow you to finish your thought. You were on the long-term prevention of back pain, and you gave us some really interesting information about how you work with the workforce there. So, continue. Katie?
I don't know if we still have Katie. I
Did
guess,
Katie drop off?
By cutting her off, we really cut her off.
Hello?
Okay. Hi, Katie.
There
Okay.
she is.
Great. So
okay. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. I was just saying, so we cut you off a little bit, and you were talking about the long-term prevention programs of back pain for the workforce that you are currently with. So go ahead, continue.
Well, I already touched a little bit on what we do with some of our newer employees, but for our long-term senior employees, they've been here a long time. One of the first things that we typically look at is I have them look at kind of the ergonomics of their job. What are they doing? We go out on the floor, we'll actually examine kind of their posture, body position, all of that throughout an activity that they perform, repetitively throughout the day. And we'll break that down. If there's any issues, we'll try to correct it. So that's typically the first step. And then, if you can't obviously be with somebody all day, so I try to have them take notes on things they notice that cause them pain, and then we can review those activities the next time they're in my office, and we can talk about some postural things to work on, and then eventually we work towards corrective exercise, which it sounds like John can talk quite a bit about.
Yeah. So that's a great segue. So John, you're seeing a much more geriatric population in the last 10 years since you've been doing this and having this business. So are the people who are coming to you with acute pain, are you kind of sort of fixing them and then they go away, or is this something that you teach them lifestyle habits that are going to keep them healthy, for the rest of their lives? How do you view that?
Right. For the most part, most people really stick with it. So when I say they come to me, the first thing I do is I obviously do some testing and check their strength, because, the spine is, with the curves we have, it's really inherently unstable, so it takes muscle and connective tissue to stiffen it up so it can bear loads. Mm-hmm. And since we sit from 8 to 13 hours a day, most of that muscle goes south. You don't have to deal with gravity or anything else. And I really zero in on, probably the first place I start is I look at the area around the pelvis. Because with all the sitting, the butt muscle gets lazy and the hip flexors shorten, and you get increased lordosis. You have people having a hard time getting up out of a chair. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of look at how they get in and out of the car. I look at how they get up and down. I try to make a change, and I tell them, I said, I know these habits are ingrained in your subconscious, because our subconscious runs about 90% of our life anyway. But I said, I want you to start thinking about this. If I can change 10% of what you're doing and what you can control, you're going to see a significant decrease, because you can build on that. Because the more you either catch yourself doing it wrong or catch yourself doing it right, it slowly builds into your subconscious.
I agree with you, John. I agree with you. I see that so much. I think exactly what you're saying is so on point. It's about movement. It's about analyzing movement, catching some of the patterns that you are subconsciously making, and really being conscious of that. Watching yourself in a window as you walk by, seeing your posture. I think that people really need to do that more. I think that's such a good point you touched upon.
Oh, it really is. And I find one thing that seems to be really common in almost all the back pain that I've come across, and that is the pelvic muscles are so tight. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have people, and I have a hard time just doing a simple pelvic tilt. Either they've, lost the connection between the brain and the nerve and the muscle, or just so inhibited. It's just amazing to me that they cannot use their stomach to flatten their back, mm-hmm. or arch their back, to get it off the floor. It just...
some never had that awareness. Some never had that awareness or that motor skill, John,
Yeah, and doesn't that tightness comes from sitting so long?
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the $1,000,000 question, is how do we break that cycle of sitting?
That leads us to a good question. What are your go-to techniques now about when we think about treatment? Of course, every exercise is different and every, patient is different, but do you have specific exercises that you both prescribe, both at the acute and chronic points of low back pain?
Right. Now,
and what are they?
Yeah, if it's super acute, I do a lot of stuff, depending on how bad the pain is. I do a lot of stuff lying supine or maybe in a chair.
Sure.
But if I can get them on the floor, and sometimes I can't, but I have them practice body weight squats and then keeping that spine in neutral, and if I have to prop up pillows on the chair, whatever they can do, because they have to get, we basically move from one sitting position to another in our lives. Mm-hmm. So if I can take the way they get out of a chair and make them stronger and the way they get into a chair, you figure you get up and down 50 times a day. Well, that's 50 squats you've done without adding anything to your routine. You got to do it anyway. You got to get off the toilet. Right. You got to get up in the chair. You got to get in your car. You got to get out. Another one I do is the bird dog, and you might know it as quadruped. Great one back. And then I have a little 90-second thing. I set a timer when I'm on my computer every 20 minutes, and I get up. I call it my PC workout, and I have it on my website. It's a little video, but it's basically 3 little exercise stretches. It kind of stretches the fascia and so forth. And I tell you, when I sit back down, I sit straight up. And it seems like you're not doing anything, but it sure helps me, because if I don't set that timer, all of a sudden 2 hours has gone by and my head is being sucked into the monitor.
Of course. Dave, I would love to have some video links of the bird dog or the quadruped position or some of the exercises that John's relating to.
Yeah, I think that would be great, to be able to, show our listeners what it is you're talking about.
Now, if I may interrupt, just want to, before I forget, I also tell the people, I said, never let your guard down, because I've had several people over the years that have herniated a disc or bulged a disc by and when we sneeze, we kind of reflexively bend over and sneeze. Well, when you do that, you're putting your spine in a real compromised position.
Good point.
You can think of standing straight, lifting your head towards the sky and sneezing. Your back is in a proper position, and you're most likely not going to do any injury. A second thing is, I tell people, first thing in the morning when you get up, your discs hold a lot more water than usual, and that means there's more pressure inside and on the annulus. So it makes them ripe to bulge. So I always say, wait a good half hour or so before you do any loading to the spine, whether it's bending, whether it's lifting something. Let that water get out of there so you have normal pressure in there.
That's great.
That's a great point. Yeah. Great point, John.
Katie, so what kinds of things? We have 2 minutes. Again, I'm not going to cut you off this time, promise. So what kinds of things would you recommend?
Well, because our work is not sedentary, we have a lot of anterior chain involvement in terms of what our employees do on a regular basis. So a lot of it would be corrective exercise to try to improve that posture, strengthen the posterior chain, just because they're doing so much out in front on a regular basis. So we focus quite a bit on some core stabilization. We'll focus on some hip stuff like bridges, dead bugs. Depending on the strength of the individual, it's either planks or dead bugs. A lot of core and posterior chain, just to try to kind of counteract all the stuff they're doing out in front of them for 10 to 12 hours a day. That's typically what we start with, if it's not an acute traumatic injury.
Good. And I'd like to continue that conversation when we get back from break, but when you're saying dead bugs and all of these different exercises, are they doing these exercises on site with someone? Are they being shown and then they're asked to go home and perform them? Or how does that work? Is that a program that you run at the facility?
Well, we've got actually 3 athletic training facilities within our situation, within my clinical site. So for the first couple weeks, they typically will work with me. Okay. And then once we start to see they've developed good habits and they're starting to see the benefits of it, they'll get their own home exercise program.
Gotcha. Okay. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll be right back with the Wellness Roundtable radio show and our issue of low back pain. Want shoes that are both comfortable and stylish? Look no more. Aetrex has what you need. Aetrex shoes feature built-in orthotic support that can help with balance, alignment, and injury prevention, all wrapped up in a stylish package. Listeners can take advantage of our special offer for 10% off their purchase at Aetrex.com. AETREX.com. Use the code WELLNESS, that's WELLNESS. Don't wait. The special offer expires December 31st, 2017.
Don't we all have questions about our health, fitness, or even injuries? Now there's a place to go, and it's online at wellnessroundtable.com. Wellnessroundtable.com is an online interactive video platform that allows the best experts in the world to share their knowledge with you. Through creating a roundtable or attending a lecture, you are bound to realize the value of having evidence-based information live and in the comfort of your own home. Check them out at wellnessroundtable.com and get some real answers. Use the promo code 1100 to get a 20% discount.
Need help tuning up for your next competition? Has an injury taken you out of the game or away from work? Time to reevaluate your training and conditioning program. Clay Gaffrey is an experienced strength and conditioning specialist to put your program back on target. Clay has over 25 years of experience in creating programs for all ages and training needs. He has the skill and experience to help you reach your goals. Clay Gaffrey is available for consultation on wellnessroundtable.com, or you can contact him at runfast@gmail.com. That's runfast@gmail.com.
Owned and operated by John Bliley, Habit Health LLC is a company dedicated to providing home health services. John is compassionate, knowledgeable, and empathetic. John has been a fitness professional for over 20 years, with the past 10 being devoted to a more geriatric clientele. John specializes in corrective exercise, working with folks to reduce back pain and improve strength, flexibility, and balance to prevent falls and keep seniors independent and out of skilled nursing care. For your health, contact John Bliley at habithealth.com. That's HAVEITHEALTH.com.
Does the bell still ring for you? Arizona's longest running and most popular Christmas tradition is back at Grand Canyon Railway. The magical journey of the Polar Express leaps off the pages of the famous children's book and into Williams, Arizona for the 17th straight year. Grand Canyon Railway's weeknight departures are perfect for an after-school trip, and select weekends are still available. So now is the time to book your family's memorable journey to the North Pole before all the seats are gone. Just visit us on the web at thetrain.com or call toll-free 1-888-848-3511 and we'll see you at the North Pole.
The Society of St. Vincent de Paul has been serving homeless individuals and working families across central and northern Arizona since 1946. They provide critical services like emergency food boxes, medical and dental care, clothing and showers, hot meals, shelter, job referrals, and thrift stores. Help St. Vincent de Paul feed, clothe, house, and heal families in need. Gifts to St. Vincent de Paul qualify for a dollar-for-dollar Arizona state tax credit up to $800. Learn more and donate at charitytaxcreditatz.com. charitytaxcreditatz.com.
Back to the Wellness Roundtable radio show on 1100 KFNX. We're talking about low back pain with two experts, Katie Behrens and John Bliley. And I wanted to continue the conversation. One of you had mentioned that we sit so often, I think it was you, John, we sit so often during the day, and that these patterns are kind of ingrained into our subconscious, and that if we could only be more conscious about what it is we're doing, we might be better off. And to that end, there's been some technology that's been created to kind of help in that regard. I don't know if you've heard of LumoLift, but it's kind of a activity tracker style device that pins to either your shirt or goes somewhere on your upper body and can basically detect when your posture changes.
That's great.
Yeah, so it kind of buzzes, letting you know to stand up straight. Now, you know, there's always the sort of pitfalls with these technologies, whether it be that I left it on my dresser or my bureau, so now I don't have it during the day. What are some other ways that you guys, both Katie and John, that you would say you could improve the consciousness of individuals to make them more aware of their body position during the day?
Wow, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I can give you guys some input. You know, I mean, that's we do a lot of taping. I'm sure, Katie, in the athletic training world, taping is one of the first things that comes to mind in the athletic training world that we've used for years. But yeah, I am curious to know, what John you think as well. But Katie, you could jump in there as well. I mean, taping is ideal.
Yeah, the KT tape was the first thing that popped into mind. I had shoulder issues when I played volleyball in college, and honestly, it helps with my postural stuff more than anything. And we've utilized it here some in my setting. I've had some guys with upper back issues or shoulder issues, and we've used it primarily as a reminder because they can feel the difference in that tension on that tape when they move.
That's exactly right.
I mean, a physical cue is a great option like that. KT tape would be great.
So, Dave, what we're talking about here is kind of keeping the tape pleated in the proper posture and in the right position. And when the position overextends, the patients or athletes will feel a stretch or a pull on their skin, and that will remind them, almost like a biofeedback, to get back into the right position. Or as John was stating, that causes you to be conscious of your subconscious so you can relearn these movements.
So when you have the tape on, if let's say you're in a perfect position, do you still feel the tape?
It's in a pleated position.
Okay. So you're not...
Yeah, you might know that there's tape on your skin, but you're not going to feel the tautness or the tightness that it would provide when you actually stretched or kind of in the wrong position.
Right, that makes sense. How about the use of a mirror or the use of of some kind of reflective, let's say, device that you could use to determine how it is you're standing? But then if you use a mirror, you're not necessarily... the professional, right? You're not the one to say, oh, yeah, this is exactly how I should be standing. I'm perfectly in neutral right now. So
right, but look at Alexander. The Alexander technique, was developed from a guy standing in front of multiple mirrors to look at himself, But again, mechanics, like John was speaking about, is ideal and is the epicenter of everything. So I think if you're right, if there is some way that you can get any visual feedback or visual aid, it's ideal.
Let me posit a question to all three of you, and that is that, and because I have young children, and you may as well. My question is this: is that with the use of technology the way we see it today, and not necessarily computers, but I'm talking about handheld technology, are we going to see different kinds of back injuries in the future? Do you think?
I think you will. I think you'll see a lot more cervical and thoracic issues. I mean, just with the load on the head. Because you ever see anybody hold their phone up to eye level? I mean, no.
Right, hardly. Right.
Good point.
I mean, and that whole electronics and everything, the handheld stuff, is just making everybody less active and less movement, and that's going to be even more of a problem. I think eye strain, that people are going to have their thumb joints worn out. I mean, I think there's all kinds of stuff that's going to be different.
Katie,
I agree on cervical and thoracic. I mean, I just think about, I have to send quite a few emails throughout the day, even though I work with patients quite a bit. And if I'm working on my computer for too long, I can feel my posture slip. I can feel, a headache start to kick in, all kinds of stuff like that. But just posturally alone, I mean, it puts a lot of strain on your C-spine as well as thoracic.
Do you think that some of the some of the devices out there, whether it be lumbar support, special chairs, elevated desks, are those going to either raise the consciousness of our position, or are they going to help in the long run, or are they just kind of a Band-Aid?
I mean, we use the elevated desk quite a bit with some of our office staff, so I mean, I could see where that kind of raises the awareness more. I mean, it can definitely act as a Band-Aid if you're not doing anything outside of making some seating adjustments at work. It can be just a Band-Aid effect if you're not doing anything at home to stay active and to kind of keep everything conditioned. But I think at least with the standing desk, they've been really beneficial for a lot of our people, so I could see where that could be very beneficial in the office setting.
It's funny, Scott, that, being in New York, you're a walker, right? You walk everywhere. You go up and down stairs to the subway.
Of course.
That's how you get around, right?
Yeah.
When we moved here, we got, into a car, and I haven't gotten out of a car. So I used to be a walker, and I'm in a car all day long. So
more sitting, and that adds up.
It's so interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting to see the back pain issues or the back pain prevalence of a city like this, or any suburban area. It doesn't have to be a city like this, and a walking city, and to see if is there a difference, with people who are active more throughout the day. Whether it doesn't have to be physical activity in that sense, like doing something recreational, but at least they're moving during the day.
It's true. And we know, for any non-specific back pain, we know that cardiovascular activity and walking is recommended in the medical community as one of the foremost things. So for any listeners out there, if you're dealing with any back pain, eventually, if you can get up and walk, walking is one of the best things to start with. No doubt about it. And if you'd like to call us and ask a few questions to our to our experts, please call us at 602-277-5369. Or if you're out of state, 1-888-536-1100. We'd love to hear from you.
So,
go
ahead, John. Go ahead.
Brace.
Sure.
I have, I'm kind of torn on the back brace. I mean, to me, I know years ago they did a big study at Safeway with the back brace to see if it would, cut down on their workman's compensation and so forth, and it really didn't make a difference. My problem with the back brace is, like, anytime you brace or cast something, all those muscles get to go to sleep because they don't have to do any work.
Yes.
Positive side, it kind of reminds you, kind of like the KT tape, of what it's like to be, what you're supposed to be feeling like in a neutral spine or whatever. So I guess in the acute phase, if people got to do a lot of walking and they're maybe recovering from surgery or just before surgery, maybe a back brace would be okay. But I think in the long run, to me, it's detrimental just on muscle tone and stabilization.
I think they used to say the same thing with weight belts, right? That when you would slap a weight belt on, you wouldn't necessarily be actively training the muscles under the belt. The belt would be doing all of the lifting in a sense. It would be acting as a crutch.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
I wish we had more time to get into the core and the true muscles of the core, because, I always try to tell athletes and patients that we have that belt built in. If you know how to use it right and you can cinch those muscles down tight and you understand the anatomy of your core, you can kind of use your built-in belt, and you don't need to rely on something or an external force to support yourself.
Right. I know time has gone so quickly, and I'd love to do another show on core musculature and love for you guys to join us again. If you want to call in, please reach us at 602-277-5369. And if you're out of state, 1-888-536-1100. We just have another minute or so, and I just wanted to thank you guys, but also quickly, John, if there was 2 recommendations you could give for people with low back pain, what would they be?
Oh boy,
it's a rifle. It's a one of those lightning round questions.
Yeah, right.
We got about a minute. That's okay.
If it's very acute,
yep.
My silver bullet: get down on the floor, put your legs up so that your toes, your knees are directly facing the ceiling, so that back can relax into the floor for like 15 minutes, and make sure feet don't flop out to the side, and that everything is, knees and feet are hip width apart.
Okay. Katie?
Stay active and stay mobile. I think that's the best, to keep everything moving. Don't let that back tighten up on you.
Thank you.
Well said.
Katie Behrens, John Bliley, thanks so much. For David Spear and Scott Weiss, this is the Wellness Roundtable Radio Show. See you next week.
You've been listening to the Wellness Roundtable Radio Show right here on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. Tune in next week for more from the experts on the Wellness Roundtable Radio Show.
Atrix is one of the fastest growing companies in the footwear industry and is widely recognized as a global leader in comfort and wellness footwear products. The Atrix mission is to create the healthiest shoe on the market today, with fashion, function, and quality at the forefront. Atrix designs and manufactures most types of footwear for both men and women. All styles are crafted with care to meet the highest standards in design, incorporate cutting-edge technologies, and offer unmatched customization and adjustability. To learn how Atrix can help you with your feet, go to AETREX.com. That's Atrix.com.
Don't we all have questions about our health, fitness, or even injuries? Now there's a place to go, and it's online at wellnessroundtable.com. Wellnessroundtable.com is an online interactive video platform that allows the best experts in the world to share their knowledge with you. Through creating a roundtable or attending a lecture, you are bound to realize the value of having evidence-based information live and in the comfort of your own home. Check them out at wellnessroundtable.com and get some real answers. Use the promo code 1100 to get a 20% discount.
You're listening to Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX, Cave Creek, Phoenix, a division of Premier